Can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk. Delighted as always to be joined by Elliot Greek. This is a final prediction video for the big heavyweight fight happening between Zhilei Zhang and Agit Kabayel this Saturday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as part of what people are calling the best fight card of all time. Elliot, we're back again, back for some final predictions. We always enjoy doing these videos with yourself. Always interested to see what you've got to say as well. Not going to take any backward steps, no holds barred. What is your final prediction for this heavyweight fight, please?
Obviously, thank you for having me. I'm going to start off by saying I don't know. No, you weren't expecting that, were you? No, I'm not going to. No, I'm not saying that. I've not thought about it. What I mean to say is, to be honest with you, there's two ways I can see this fight playing out. Really, I think Zhang has got 5 rounds to stop him. Basically, I really believe that, and I think Kabayel, good body puncher, good engine. We've seen him stop, obviously Makhmudov, Sanchez as well. So I think he could equally just, if he gets through those 5 rounds, stop Zhang or outpoint Zhang. So it's just really a question of can Zhang land the hammer in the first 5 rounds for me. Um, I think my prediction is going to be Kabayel, to be honest with you. I think Zhang is 40. What is he? 41 now. I think it's a big ask. Obviously, we're a bit hard, but Joyce is a stationary target. We saw him obviously stop Joyce, and everyone was like, "Oh, we weren't necessarily expecting that." But Joyce doesn't move his head, so and Zhang is very powerful. So in a way, you can look at that and go, "That's fair enough." So I think I'm going to go Kabayel. I know you're going to push me on whether I think it's going to be a stoppage or points. Um, you know what? I think it might. I think it might be a stoppage. I really got a suspicion he might get to Zhang late. I think Zhang will just be so sort of tired. We saw the lack of activity really with him in recent fights coming down the stretch. So I feel like when he gets through 5, he's going to gas horrendously. I feel Kabayel might just get the stoppage. To be honest with you, we've seen him stop big guys before, so I'm going to go with Kabayel stoppage late, somewhere 9 to 12 for me.
Fantastic. Look, I think it's kind of torture to do any final prediction videos for this fight card, and I think anyone who can predict all 7 fights, it should get some sort of massive prize in my opinion because it's so difficult. I am I'm going to disagree with you. I'm a big fan of Zhilei Zhang. I think he's deceptively quick. I think he's an extremely large man as well. Um, and I just think, but it's such a tricky fight to call, as you say. I just think Zhang, the way he kind of stopped Joyce in that second fight, the way he kind of knocked Joseph Parker down twice in their fight as well, the way he just kind of decimated Deontay Wilder as well. I can't help but be very impressed by him. Um, I will go for a Zhang stoppage as well. In the mid rounds. Um,
You reckon he's going for 5 to 7? You reckon? Do you reckon? Well, let me ask you a question. Do you reckon? Do you agree with me at least that the round 5 might be the turning point, or do you reckon a bit later than that?
I would say a bit later. I'd give Zhang until round 8. I can't look. I'm not ultra confident on this pick. One of the reasons why I'm not is I remember when Zhang fought Joseph Parker, and it just felt like those last 4 rounds between Zhang and Parker. I questioned whether Zhang threw a punch because I just thought he looked exhausted. Similar to when Zhang fought Hrgovic as well, if you remember that.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
last couple of rounds, like that's where he lost the fight. Because the last couple of rounds he could barely stand up, so couldn't do anything. So yeah, I'll give him a bit longer than you are, but yeah, Zhang, look, his kind of stamina is not his strong point. And if I was Kabayel, you just kind of you survive until the second half of the fight, and then either win those rounds or put the pressure on and get the stoppage. But it's really exciting. Could be fight of the night. Um, Gonna bring in what our kind of partners are saying now. Elliot, sharpbetting.co.uk. They've run a poll in one of their articles this week asking their followers who they think is going to win each fight. As you can imagine, a lot of the fights that people are finding hard to call. 57% of people they've asked are going for Ajit Kabayel, which means 43% are going for Zhilei Zhang. So still very close, but most people are agreeing with you. Does that kind of shock you? Why do you think more people are going for Kabayel in this fight than Zhang?
I think it's kind of what I was saying. I think around age. I think there's an element of age. I think, like you said, the inactivity. of Zhang in the later sort of rounds of fights. But I think you also look at Kabayel, stop Makhmudov, stop Frank Sanchez. Quite surprising results, to be honest with you. I would have had Frank Sanchez beating him. Frankly, I was a big fan of Frank Sanchez. Even Makhmudov's a big guy, obviously, to stop there as well. So I think those sort of things also playing into it. You think, hold on a second, he has actually got pedigree stopping decent fighters. It's not just been fighting the kind of Pavel Swar, Kevin Johnson kind of guys. He actually has stepped up a bit. But I think it's mostly to do with Zhang's age. I have to believe that. I think, and just the sense that, like you said, we gave it different sort of rounds, but that sense that if it gets to 5 or to 8, Zhang will be blowing. And at that point, if Kabayel hasn't taken sustained damage, if he can kind of still keep going, good body punch, like I said, if he can keep sort of doing that, I think he'll get to Zhang. So yeah, I think it's just, I do mostly believe it's an age thing. I'm a massive fan of Zhang, like you are. I also think in some ways he's the better boxer. If he was sort of 36, 37, I'd be going Zhang all day long, to be honest with you. It's just that kind of age sort of factor for me. And Kabayel's sort of 32, so much fresher, fewer miles on the clock, better condition. That's the reason why I think they go. But it'd be interesting to see if they break down those guys who think it's going to be points and if they think it's going to be KO as well, because I think that's maybe where the difference will be as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's you father time waits for nobody. And look, this could, I think if Zhang loses, there's a possibility that could be it. That would be the kind of the third loss on his record. And I just think it could be a long way back. Final question before I let you go, Elliot. If you're right with Kabayel, what do you think would happen next? Because I feel like this is for the WBC interim world title. Usyk is expected, I believe, to fight the winner of Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois. I imagine that fight will be late summer. So in terms of when Kabayel would actually fight for this title, I kind of hate to think, to be honest with you, it could be a while. Do you think he will basically play the waiting game and basically wait up to 12 months to actually fight for this title against whoever that could be? There's some very kind of dangerous names in the rankings as well. Martin McCauley is ranked highly with the WBC. Anthony Joshua is still there as well. Do you think he's going to play the waiting game if he wins this fight, or do you think he will look to take on the top fighters in the division, even if that's not for a world title?
Very good question, very tough question, because in some ways we saw what happened to Joe Joyce when he was ranked very highly and then he obviously lost. And you're sort of like, overnight, you're kind of like, oh, no, that's kind of all that hard work has been undone. So on the one hand, you go play the waiting game. But on the other hand, if like an anti-Joshua fight comes along and they're offering you a substantial amount of money, probably don't take the waiting game, at the same time. I mean, I wouldn't want to fight Bacoli, to be honest with you. I know there's a lot of talk about Bacoli not necessarily being a huge ticket seller, etc., or not necessarily bringing the money that someone like Anthony Joshua would. I think Bacoli's a really, really hard fight for anyone. So for me, I'd look at that fight if I was Kabayel and go, absolutely no, thank you. I wouldn't want to sort of fight that. But maybe there's a world where he fights the loser of Dubois Parker. If Dubois wins that, I think, and fights Usyk, I can see Kabayel Parker being a decent fight. To be honest with you, I wouldn't really want to fight Daniel Dubois either if I was Kabayel. I think, again, young, fresh, very, very powerful. But if he goes through and fights Usyk, Parker's not a bad fight. Maybe have that one on a Iridium card would probably work as well. But I think maybe, if the AJ one comes along and take it, I think AJ in a weird way would probably welcome that fight. I think he'd back himself to beat Kabayel, frankly, as well. So I think that'd be a good scalp to have. But yeah, I think it's all about money. It really is all about money. You could sit on your ass for a year, take the title shot, or maybe try and gamble and win. But it's all about the figures at the end of the day. I sound like Eddie Hearn, but it's all about the money on this one.
No, I feel like Kabayel, this is his third fight in a row in Saudi Arabia. I think he's in that club, isn't he? Of if you keep winning, you keep on getting invited back, basically. So I think I go down the route. I don't think WBC are going to strip Alexander Usyk anytime soon or call for a mandatory. So I think that Kabayel will see him if he is to win this fight. Same with Zhang as well. If Zhang wins this fight, we'll see them in another big fight in the summer against the top 10 heavyweight, whether that's Anthony Joshua, Joseph Parker, Daniel Dubois, Martin Bacoli. I think that's more likely. But let's not, there's absolutely no complaints about that. I'd much rather that than Kabayel or Zhang disappear for a year and before fighting for a world title. So we shall see. Elliot, thank you for your time as always. Appreciate you putting your neck on the line here, and we will see who is right, who is wrong. I will speak to you again very, very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching.